Hi, welcome to my channel Takniki Gyan Guru. Today we will discuss or give you a demo to containerize and deploy microservices to Ubuntu using Jenkins. Means we have the microservices application we have already discussed in earlier videos. We have created that application where it has the front end using React application, back end as a Node.js application, and that is deployed as a web server in Nginx, right? So that application is ready, and we have used code editor to build this application, and then this application would be deployed to a containerized environment, right? Container environment. We have used Docker Composer to deploy this whole microservice into container environment. But today we will discuss how to deploy through Jenkins. Also, the code will be put into some repository, GitHub repository. We have already discussed how to create a GitHub repository and push our code from local server to there. You can go and check in my previous video. So developer will develop the code using VS Code, right? We have already created using VS Code. The first uh, application Node.js, that is backend application. Second, the React.js, that is the front end application. It will be shown to the end user. And Nginx is the web server. We will deploy, containerize these three application and deploy into to Dockerize environment, right? So once he developed the code, he will push the code into GitHub. So GitHub we have already discussed in previous video how to create the GitHub repository and push our code. So we pushed our code into GitHub repository. That is also done. I will give you the description, the details in the description. You can check in the description also, or you can go my channel and directly check. Right. So once it is done, today we will build a pipeline that will pull the code, that build the code, and create the image and deploy microservice to the environment. Right. So it will be auto trigger. Today we will not go to the auto trigger. It will manually trigger for today, and this will deploy. The Jenkins pipeline will pull the code, build the image, and then everything is done and it will deploy to the Ubuntu server. In the Ubuntu server, we have the Dockerized environment. Installed the Docker Composer and all those things. And that is also we have given a demo last time how we can set up this. So now we are in Jenkins. So first of all, we'll create a new project. This will be the pipeline project. So let's create a new item and we'll select pipeline. Let's create some name. Deploy microservice app. Okay. And say okay. Now we don't need to select here GitHub project. You can give the project name repository. We have the repository we created earlier. Let us take the URL. I'll show you. Uh, let's say this is the URL, right? GitHub project URL. So now I don't need to fill the this project trigger is basically how this application getting triggered. So we'll manually trigger for now the pipeline script and SCM. So we are not using SCM. If we are use SCM, we need to create a Jenkins pipeline and store into our project. So for now we'll use the pipeline script, and later on we will use the SCM also, right? So I have the code ready. So I'll show you the details. Copy and paste here what it is. Okay, so first of all, pipeline is the first line. Agent, so we are using agent label microservices, right? So we are not giving any agent name, or any or none, or we need to give the label. So I have show you how the label, I have given some label name in my previous video, where I have show you how to create a nodes, right? Jenkins node. So there I have given microservice, Linux, DevOps, lot of labels I have given. You can give one of the label here so that it will pick up your agent or node, and then using that node it will be deployed, right? So I have given the I'll show you this one also, label services. Stage is checkout. So in this section we can create multiple stages, where the stage checkout, where you can pull your code. You have the build, deploy, multiple stage you can define. I have defined only two stage. One is checkout. The checkout stage is just pull our code or clone our code from source code repository GitHub to my the node. In my node, the Linux node I have. And then we will have the second stage, that is build and deploy, where it will build and deploy our code into the Linux box, right? Ubuntu server. So in the checkout stage, what steps we are following? We have some script, like we are using some error handling things over here, try and catch. In the try section, we are just using git branch. My branch is main. If you have different branch, you can mention over here. Credentials id, git, I created a credential id here. So what credential you can give? You can create a secret, right? In the secret, that secret you have to give it to here. I'll show you how we can create a secret in GitHub and configure that secret into your Jenkins. Okay, so that secret id you have to give. And then your url is your git repository url, right? Project you have created. So I'll show you microservice project, we have created. And that url I have to we have to give it here. In the catch, if any error, then you have to display the error. That is done. Then next second stage is build and deploy, where we again try clause. First of all, what we are doing is we are doing sh, we are executing some command, sudo docker compose up, and d means it will work in the backend. So if you see, okay, uh, if I log in local host 8082, this url, I can't see any application. Once we deploy, the application will be accessed into this one. So this setup is done, and we have discussed this in my previous video also. So let's understand some of the things like credential, how we can create the credentials, and how we can set up the git also, right? So when we are using git clone or git something, git branch, we need to clone from the GitHub to your local server or Linux server. So that git also required in your node, right? So let's go and check your node first. Go to the dashboard. Okay, you need to save it first. Let's save and go to the dashboard and manage Jenkins and go to the node, right? Inside node, if you can see, we have already set up the Microservice node. This is the node, Linux node we have set up. We have created this node in my previous video. I have shown you how to create a node, right? So you can check and see how we can create a node, right? One of the things. Second thing is we can check how we can create the credentials, right? So go to manage Jenkins and go to the credentials. In the credentials, you can click system global and global credentials, and then you can create credentials. In the create credentials, what kind of credentials you are creating? User id, password. I want to create a secret text, right? In the secret text, you have to say it is global secret. You have to put the secret from your GitHub, right? I will show you how to create a secret from GitHub also. An id, whatever id you will put it here, that id should use into your pipeline, right? I show you credential id. You have to give you the credential id from here to there only, right? I'll show you some, and then some description, and you can create it. If you can see the credentials, I have give the credentials GitHub connect, right? If you can select this one, GitHub connect, and then this is the GitHub connect, right? This credential has not been recorded, so you can't see it, but I have given only the this one, the credentials only secret. So I will check how to create a secret, right? Third one is we need to you know install the GitHub git into the Linux. So I'll not show you how to install the Linux. You can either go to the manage Jenkins and plugins. Here you can see the into the available plugin and search GitHub plugin installed. Go to the installed form is already installed, right? GitHub plugin. So if it is not there, you can go to available plugin and uh, search GitHub plugin, and you will find the list of in the list you will find the GitHub plugin. You can install it, right? So once it is installed, you have to go to the global configuration tool. In the global configuration tool, you have to mention where your git is installed, right? So I would say shell command, right? Okay, so you need to get path of the executable here. You don't need to install. You if the git if you are already manually installed, you know where the install is. You need to give the path of your installation where your git is installed, right? So generally, we if you install it, we should have this path usr/bin/git. So once you get, then whenever this Jenkins will run some git command, it will directly go and uh, run your command from this location. So it will find your git from this location, right? If this path is not correct, then you may have some error, some git execution error, right? So you have to give some path over here and save it, correct? And now once it is done, now you can go to the GitHub. I have already show you how to create a GitHub repository, push your code and all. You can go and check my previous video, or I will give you the description detail in the description, right? So see, here we have some repository. I have mentioned the Takniki Gyan Guru inside the microservices, and I have already pushed backend, front end, Docker Composer into this repository, right? You can click here. You can click here and go to your setting. You can click your profile and go to the setting. Go down and move to the developer setting. In the developer setting, you can create personal access token. You can create token classes, and I have already created this one. This is the login, right? You can create another token. If you can create new token, you can use the same token into your project, right? So you created that one, token is created, your project is also there, right? So this is the project, the microservice, and this is the URL we are talking about, the code, and this URL, right? This is the GitHub URL we mentioned to the Jenkins, correct? So this whole, how to create the GitHub account or push the code, we have already created the demo. You go and watch. Now move to the Jenkins, correct? And go to your project. Let's see, go to your project, this one, deployment microservice app. Now go to configure. It's already done, right? Already done. Now we can go and run the project. See, here we go to project and build now. Click on the job and see what it does. Oh, good. So what it is doing is, It is clone your project from microservices and put into the local server, right? Check out all the server, and now see, pulling the library node. So now it is creating the image of the React.js application, and pulling the base image, and then it will create image for the React.js, then the Node.js, and the Nginx, and then this will be deployed through the Docker, right? So we have created another command, docker compose up. Using this compose up, this will be deployed to our application, to our Ubuntu box, right? So if you see in the browser, it is still not there, right? So let's wait for this to be completed. Yeah, now you can see the build is done, it is finished. Now go to the browser and refresh it. No, now you can see the application is coming. You can add, delete, or add new student. Yeah, so let's move to the slide. Before that, let's understand the Jenkins pipeline a little bit more. Go to the pipeline and configure. See, right? So first of all, in the first stage, we are just downloading the project, cloning the project, and second, we are just running sudo docker compose upd. So this command will create the image, build the application, and create the image and deploy your application into the Ubuntu server, right? That Ubuntu server, the Docker is already installed. The the Git also already installed into the same server, right? This server is basically the node we used. So only this command I have already show you how we can deploy our container using multiple container using Docker Compose, right? So using this Docker Compose, we can create a create the containers, right? Multiple containers, and they all the containers will talk to each other locally, correct? So now we understood the how we can deploy microservice into the containerized environment, container environment. Let's move to the slide now. So now we understood how to deploy a microservice uh, application to Ubuntu using Jenkins, and the application will be stored into a GitHub repository. So this will end to our video. So thank you so much for joining this video. If you would like to have a video on your topic, just comment us. Definitely we will come back with a video that is on your choice, right? Till then, thank you so much. Bye.